Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Vita May and this is Resin with Vita May, and today we're going to be doing a coaster, kind of like a cow motif. Why don't you hit the like button and subscribe if you're not already subscribing to my channel. Also, we will be doing this is about 2-3 years old, and it has started to turn a little bit of a color, and that sometimes happens with resin. I don't know why, but if you leave it near the sun, this is what happens. So you want to keep it away from the sun. But we're going to do this coaster today. First, I have a silicone mold. For those of you who are new to resin, you will need a silicone mold. You'll need resin, and I am going to start off with some clear resin that I already pre-mixed sitting on the side. If you need to know how to mix the resin, you can go to my first 2 videos that I made a year or so ago, and I show you how to mix the resin. But for now, we're going to move on, and I am going to pour in the resin first. Okay, I'm using a spatula, and if you don't already know, I sell molds and accessories on my Etsy shop. You can also find me on Resin by Vita May on TikTok. I also post videos there as well. And my Etsy shop is Resin by Vita May. And I sell molds and other things on my Etsy shop that will help you with the resin. Oh, let's see. Wait a minute. Oops, sorry guys. Let me move that back. I hate when there's little lint pieces and things like that. But the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pour the resin in. I want to pour a little bit on the top, and I want to pour it definitely down the sides. And the reason why I want to pour a little bit on the top, I'm actually going to pour it up to about the level where as though it starts to cover the top piece in the middle. And the reason why I'm going to do this is because I want to put the black spots on the resin. And I want to put it on a layer of resin so that it could sit there. I could do this. There is so many ways of doing this, but this is just the way that I prefer to do it. Okay, I had to make sure that it wasn't all the way up at the top. This is done in a couple of step process, but the first thing that I like to do is I like to make sure that my bubbles are removed. So we're going to use the heat gun. So if you're sensitive, this is the time to turn away. It's going to be real quick. I'm going to pop my bubbles. I like to use a heat gun. I do not recommend that you use a torch, even though torches do get popped. The most bubbles is the most efficient, but it also melts your molds, and molds can be quite expensive over time. I find that these heat guns, as long as you don't have them on it too long, does not produce enough heat to ruin your molds. Hey guys, it's your girl Vita May, and I am back. It's been roughly about I would say half an hour to maybe about 45 minutes. I can't tell because I went to go watch my tape episode of Dr. Pimple Popper. And I came back in because I almost forgot. And I wanted to test to see if my resin was ready. Now, I'm not looking for my resin to be cured, 100% cured. But I'm just looking and testing on the little corner just to make sure that it's hard enough to do my next step. And it is. It's hard enough to do it. So I pre-mixed a small cup of resin. I'm going to be using black mica powder in order to get the, the cow effect, okay? So I am going to go ahead and add some black in there. And I want it to be really black, so I'm going to add a little bit more mica powder than what I should. And that will give a very, very, very dark undertone. It's kind of going to look muddy, but I kind of want that look too. I also let my resin sit on the side a bit because I wanted it to thicken up just a little bit. I didn't want it to be thin. I use a tabletop resin, and I wanted it to be a little thick because we need to make some of these spots. Also, guys, there's multiple ways of doing this. This is the way that I like to do it. We could have done it whereas though we put the spots down first or something else. I like to do this and I like to let it cure, because if my spots don't look right, I like to be able to move it around. The spots do not have to be perfect because of what cow spots are. But I do like to take my time and I do like to make some spots. Also too, you have to think about running. So I would like to have these a little bit more circular though. And you have to think about if the resin is going to run. So I like to do it this way. You can also do it whereas though you put the black down first and it doesn't have to be any resin, and you can actually make spots off site if you want to, like in a different kind of mold. And in here you can put stickers that might be cow spots on there. If you have a Cricut or if you have like a computer or just stickers that kind of look like spots, you can do that as well. I am trying to not put them so uniform, so that's why I'm kind of spreading them out. And I don't know if I'm going to answer any questions, but this is part 2. I'm going to put my camera on pause and come back because I can just keep blabber, blabber, blabber. And I'm not going to do that to you guys. So hold one moment. So I'm back. And one of the reasons why I like to put the resin down and let it get a little bit hard first is because I want to show you guys something. Let's say the circles or whatever you're doing is not quite right. You can actually take a Q-tip, manipulate it, clean it off. You can also clean it up. See this? You can clean it off and clean it up. Look at that. With no problems, no commitments to, like, if you were to already like start the process and you try to do it on. This is another reason. This is another method to my madness as to why I do it this way, because I can clean it to my discretion because the resin underneath is dry. Well, it's not dry, it's cured enough. So I can manipulate this to what I need. If it starts to overflow a bit, or if like the spots aren't nice enough to my likings, which they are, there was just a few things. Sometimes it starts to, if you notice, this spot started to go over to me more in the wrong direction. And I think that this one is like extra big. It's like a lot of resin. It'll fall back, but it was like a lot of resin there. It'll probably go and blend back in on its own. But I think that I want this spot. Oopsie, look at all that mess I just made. I think I want it to come more over this direction. There we go. That looks better. Come in this direction. I'm going to clean this up. So it's easy to do. Just take the Q-tip, turn it. These are from the dollar store. I did not buy the expensive kind from like a drugstore or anything to use because you can't use them anymore. They don't absorb anymore. So I buy them cheap. See this? I'm cleaning it up. It's a little bit of cleanup, a little bit of patience for this, but I promise you, you'll turn out and you'll have wonderful spots. I have seen people put it on just the plain resin, but I wasn't doing just plain resin, so I was doing the ashtray, and I've done it that way before, and I actually like it this way better. Gives like a more of a 3D effect and not a 3D effect. I'm pretty sure you probably can use other tools when cleaning this up, but look at that. This is so much easier, guys. All right, so I'm happy with this. If I start messing with it more, let me see, if I start messing with this just a little bit more, I think I might mess it up. I do see that I might want this one to be a little bit bigger, so I'm just going to add. I'm going to scrape too. I can always fill back in. But I think I'm going to just add a little bit to this spot. Make it a little bit more healthier. Just as I just did. The other ones, this one is perfect. I don't know, maybe this one I might want to come out a little bit more. Play around with it to your liking. There's no right or wrong way of doing this. However your cowl spot that you like to do is going to be your perfect cowl spot. You know what I mean? There's no two cowls that are alike with spots, and neither should your work. You are not mass producing this. You are creating it. So each creation is going to be slightly different. I don't care if we had 3 molds working at one time. Every mold is going to be uniquely different. So don't worry. Just have fun while you're doing it. I think that's perfect. And the reason why I think it's perfect, I'm going to clean this one up just a little bit, is because once we add the white to it, it's going to flow. I'm just cleaning up the sides here. And I am actually going to add just a tad bit more. And I mean, when I say a tad bit, I kind of just want to move this to fill this in for a circle. Perfect. Perfect. That is perfect. That is perfect. Look at that. I love it. I am not going to mess with it again. I'm going to love it. I'm going to watch it a little bit to make sure. I'm not even sure if I'm going to pop the bubbles on this because I don't want it to spread. I will watch it, however, and I would suggest that you watch it unless you do it very thick because it will start to spread. Resin is self-leveling, so it's going to try to level out. And it could level a little bit, but I don't want it to go too far. And that's probably what happened to this a little bit, especially like if you look at this part right here. It's probably what happened there, but that wound up even turning out perfect. But I do want it to stay kind of like more spaced out. So if it could just stay like this and cure like this, this would be fine. This is step 2. I have one more step, so I'm going to come back. This is going to be the add the white part at the end, which gives it the cowl look, okay? Be right back. Hey guys, it's only been like a second for you, but it's been about an hour and a half for me. And I needed to let the spots cure a little bit. So we're going to do our little test. And this tacking. Just a quick little side note. When you have a thicker mold, it will cure much faster than when you have something thin like this. So the first one was about a half an hour, maybe 40 minutes. And it was really tacky for the clear. But when I poured the thin layer, it's been over an hour and a half, and you can still see it's a little tacky, but it is cured enough for me to now do the last and final step, which is adding the white. I'm going to add white pigment, but I'm not just going to add this white pigment because if you can see, this white is a pearl white, and I want it to be milky white. So I'm going to add some of this, not maybe so much. Take a little bit out. I'm going to add the white, but then I have some acrylic paint. Okay, acrylic paint right there. I'm going to take a small dab of this. I swear it goes a long way, but this is going to give it, look at how much I'm putting on there. About that much, okay? You can always add. I would always start out with a little bit. You can always add because acrylic paint can mess up the texture of your resin. So when using acrylic or even alcohol inks or like pigment inks, be careful, add small, and then you can always add more to it. I have my clear resin mixed here, and I'm just going to pour it into the white because I don't know how much it needs. I'm not one to measure, but if you do want to be the person to measure prior to doing your projects, you can always pour water into your mold, not when you're getting ready to use it, but prior to. And you can always test it out. And you can see how much water is used in there, and then pour it in a measuring cup. And that will give you the amount of liquid that your mold is going to need. So I'm just going to mix this around. Some people say slow. Some people say really slow with the bubbles. What I find is that you get bubbles either way. Now, I think that's too creamy for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little more of a squirt of the white acrylic paint because it's not white enough for me. So I'm just going to add a little bit more, which I did, and it's starting to turn more white than creamy. I'm being careful, guys, but I think I kind of like what's going on here. I did add another one of those spots because I thought something was missing. I'm very happy with the way it turned out. So this is the last step that we're going to do. We're going to pour the white over top. It will not mix because even though it's the black is not 100% cure, it's to the point where as though it's not going to mix in with the white. So I'm secure with this. I'm going to try to get this as close to the top without going over as possible. I can always add more, and the reason being is that if you could do what is called doming, is the less that you're going to have to do later on with like fixing this. So give me one moment. I'm looking at this. This is, well, actually, there's not a lot of moving I can do. I forgot that I already did something. Let's see. I'm going to spray this with alcohol to get rid of some of the bubbles. Look at that. They're popping. Look at that. There we go. A couple of sprays. And then I'm going to pull out my handy dandy heat gun. So if you guys are sensitive to the noise, now's the time to turn down your sound. And I'm just going to go across lightly. With a tip for the heat gun, if you ever are using multiple colors and you don't want to mix the colors, start up high. Start up really high and then bring it down slowly until you get to the desired. You don't have to blow your resin like this all the time. Just bring it up. Bring it up until it's comfortable. You know, single colors you can do that with because there's really nothing to mix. But sometimes you have those colors that you have that perfectly mixed, but you have to pop the bubbles. So that technique is great. Raise it up and slowly pull it down until you get comfortable. And your resin don't have to go flying everywhere. That's just a little cute tip. I like where it is, but for some reason it's telling me that we can add a little bit more because I don't feel like it's over yet. And I feel like I can just add a teeny bit more. And this is going to cause me not to have to do too much sanding when I demold it. But you can't go over the mold when you do this though. So you have to be careful. I'm trying to be as careful as possible when I do this. And it's almost like it's perfect amount. Alright, I'm not going to try to overdo it and then mess up. Let me spray. And now I'm going to have this. I'm going to do my heat gun again. And I'm going to have it up real tall. And that's basically about it, guys. I am Vita May. This is Resin by Vita May. It will turn out to look something like this. I will demold it for you, but while we're just sitting here, I do have an Etsy shop in which I do sell. Here's bubbles that I'm popping with a toothpick. I do sell molds on my Etsy shop. I do make custom, just in case you don't do resin. I make custom items and I already have some pre-made items. I sell tools for resin and other artwork. And I also have a TikTok. My TikTok is Resin by Vita May. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, at least like it for me, please, if you got this far. I will be revealing in just one moment for you, probably overnight for me, the finished product. I hope you guys enjoyed this YouTube. I thank you so much Of course, it's not going to be the end, but I don't know if I'll have too much to say. Probably except for voila with this. But basically, we're just going to let this sit and cure, because this is a thin coat. It's definitely going to take 8 hours or more in order for this to process. So for you, I will be right back. Okay, so it's been a few seconds for you. It's been about 10 hours for me, and it's demolding time. Demolding time, demolding time. Let's see what we made. Demolding time, demolding time. Let's see what we made. Demolding time, demolding time. Let's see what we made. Demolding time, demolding time. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. Moo. Moo. Guys, if you like this, subscribe to my channel, like, so you get notifications when I do post. And I thank you for watching. I'm Vita May, and this is Resin by Vita May. And this is a cow ashtray. I've been saying trinket or something else, but I made an ashtray today. And I thank you for watching. Oh, one more thing. My husband thinks that this looks exactly like the original. Let me show you the original. Look, that's the original from a couple of years ago, and this is the one that we made today. So it is not the same one. All right? This is the new one. Have a wonderful day.